Hey guys, I'm Sarkis. Welcome to HUtv. Tonight we're going to be going over how to carve a pineapple bowl. Now you guys know that pineapple bowls are not really the most efficient thing to smoke out of. A lot of enthusiasts know this by heart from experience. It's generally looked down upon. However, there's some pretty cool factors and pretty cool thing when it comes to pineapples, you know? Namely, it's just how cool it looks. You know, I personally like them. I don't hate on it. I don't hate on anybody who carves a pineapple. What I do want to see is more people carving them better so that they could at least get more out of their session. And that's what this episode is about. So let's get started. How to carve a pineapple bowl.
It's the motherfucking Eagle Double G.
Snoop Dogg.
You know I'm mobbing with the D.R.E.
Alright guys, before we get started with actually how to carve a pineapple properly, I want to go over what I'm smoking. I'm sure some of you guys are curious, right? So tonight I'm actually smoking Haze Pasoka with tiramisu from Vintage, cane mint, and a little tiny bit of chocolate ice, just to balance it all out, combine it all together, you know? Here it is. And we're using my Zara spade with the aluminum droid hose. And a couple of words about this guy. I'm actually really impressed, guys. You know, the truth is that it's a $95 pipe and it's kicking butt when it comes to all, you know, Egyptian pipes out there. And I mean, it's not an Egyptian pipe, it's a modern CNC machined stainless steel and aluminum pipe. The inside down stem, that the pipe that goes all the way through, is stainless steel. The rest of it is aluminum. And it's actually pretty impressive. It smokes very well. It's got 3 different purges that could be popped out and used as hose ports as well. But yeah, I hope you guys check it out. To go forward with how to actually carve a pineapple, you want to get the tags out, throw them away. There's multiple ways of cutting them. You know, I'm going to start with the basic and kind of move forward with something more advanced, okay, for you guys. So number one is a regular Egyptian bowl style cut, you know, and how we do that is we're gonna go ahead and just place the pineapple perpendicular on your cutting board or surface, and you could grab your machete and just cut that guy, and what you're left with is this right here. Now, I like to save the pineapple tops, okay? The reason is because they're pretty. You know, what I like to do is actually stick some toothpicks in there and just kind of attach them to the side as just some, like, you know, ornament, you know, while you're smoking. Some really cool things about pineapple bowls, though, is the fact that they're great party bowls. And as such, they, you know, last a while and they're not really hard to manage. It doesn't really burn or anything, so I really think that's a good skill to have for anybody who calls themselves an enthusiast or a hookah master or a hookah guru or whatever you like to label yourself. That's what I recommend you learn and develop that skill, because honestly, who wants to use your fancy awesome bowls and setups when you have, like, you know, 10-15 people over and they might, I don't know, break them or knock things over or this and that. Pineapple bowls are really great, and also they're eye-catching. So once you make the first cut, the first thing you need to do is grab yourself a nice fillet knife. Okay, fillet knives look like this. This particular one is semi-serrated, so it's going to make carving a little bit easier for you. What you want to do is core the pineapple first. So to do that, lay it perpendicular onto the surface, grab your core, and just from the center, go straight down all the way to the edge and twist until it cores all the way through. And voila. If it doesn't go through, don't worry about it. Turn it around where your little, what is this? I don't know what this is called, a nipple or something. I'm making things up, literally. I have no idea what this is called, but go right through that guy and you will find where you cut it originally, and it should come right out. Okay, and this kind of apple core is pretty cool because you can just pop it out and pull the insides out. What you're left with is something like this. From here now, after you do this, then grab your fillet knife and go ahead and core it out real nice. And you do that by just kind of at a nice 45-degree angle, start getting into the pineapple all the way to the end. Until it all comes off. And voila. The next step is actually to go ahead and fix the issue so that the tobacco won't fall through, okay? Now some people actually do weird things where they actually pack just on the edges, like one of those HUtv bowls. I don't recommend you do that. What I do recommend you doing is actually bother to fill it in with something. What's popular to do is use some toothpicks to kind of act as a way to hold the tobacco up. And how you use that is you just kind of pop the toothpick in an angle, push it into the flesh, and then like even it out and pull back out so it stays. And what people do is they keep doing that until it's all full of enough toothpicks crisscrossed so that tobacco can't fall through, or at least they prevent as much tobacco leaves from falling through as possible. Problem is that I really don't like this method, guys. It's time consuming, it's annoying, it's just not very efficient. What I like to do instead is I actually just go ahead and grab a piece of aluminum foil. You don't need much, just a tiny bit. Like from a strip like this is about 3 inches or so, maybe 4, I don't know. And you just cut off a square just large enough to actually cover the hole inside the pineapple. And you just form it against the walls of the pineapple, just like that. And easier done, just hold it down, anchor it with your fingers, and just put all the holes you want in there for your airflow. The whole purpose of this is just to hold tobacco so the leaves don't fall through. From here, it's a simple matter of loading your bowl however you feel like doing it. It doesn't really matter how you go about doing that, honestly. We're not here to teach you how to pack a pineapple bowl. We're not going over packing methods. We're just showing you how to carve. So after you're done with this, you grab some more foil, I'm sorry. And this time you want it large enough to actually cover an entire top of the pineapple. And you want nice large squares. Now you don't have to do this because this kind of stuff is preference, but I like to double foil my pineapple, or actually most of my bowls. And you just kind of put it over, anchor it down just like you would a normal everyday bowl. And voila. Now if you cut your foil large enough, the pineapple has these grooves all around the flesh of it, on the surface of it, so you could just crimp the foil against those and it actually holds it down well enough. If you feel like it's too loose for you, like it'll come off. See, I'm doing all this, it's barely moving, so this is pretty tight. If you need to get tighter, you're just I don't know, worried that it might come off, just pop some toothpicks in there all around just to make sure that it anchors the foil down so there's no issues while you're actually smoking. And there you go. To poke your foil in terms of the hole pattern, you could just go ahead and go in crisscrosses and spirals, whatever you really want. It doesn't really matter. And voila. Okay, so that's the first way we can carve a pineapple. Next, we're gonna go ahead and show you guys how to carve a pineapple at an angle. The impressive thing about doing it at an angle is that it's got a natural, beautiful shape as is. The cool thing about it is that we were able to actually do a perfect diagonal cut in the intro of this episode for this. Now, the cool thing about this way is that, again, it's just a really cool shape of the pineapple. But in addition to that, you have two. So you could easily turn this into two separate bowls in case you only have one pineapple. Maybe if you plan on smoking for a little bit longer, maybe if you just have more friends and you only have one pineapple at your disposal, this is a cool way to do it. The advantage of this is that it actually takes advantage of larger surface area, so you could actually start cooking the pineapple in a different way, by exposing the flesh of the pineapple to more heat, and it'll start cooking. So when you do it this way, again, you gotta, first things first, you gotta make sure that you have a plan of having the surface of the pineapple flush to the ground. So when you make your hole, you don't want to start from the top down. In fact, you want to start the other way around. So again, grab your corer, figure out where you want your hole to be and your center, your pineapple to be, and you got to keep in mind that this part of the pineapple is heavier than this part of the pineapple, right? So you want a little bit offset, just so that you can have a balance when you actually have it on your bowl. So instead of doing it dead center, which would be around here, I'm going to go ahead and just do like another ½ inch or so to the right, just so I could capture that. And from there, you just kind of go perpendicular, straight down, core the pineapple, and voila. To check your work, you could just look at where it's at, and ultimately you can always just try to put it on an actual bowl, an actual hookah, and voila. So if it's fairly perpendicular, so much so that, you know, the coals won't fall off or anything, you're good to go. And you have so much room that you could actually ash your coal on the foil probably. And then to carve this guy up, all you need to do is actually just the same thing we did. Now the cool thing is I'm going to show you is that you're not limited to having to carve out large bowls, because you're the guy who decides how big your bowl is going to be, essentially, because you're turning the pineapple into a bowl. So this time we're going to make it a little smaller. You do that by basically making some serrated marks all around where your hole was, and nothing too deep, guys. Just kind of from there, just kind of carve out a nice bowl shape. And go around until it all comes off. And voila. Now if you have like little bits that aren't perfect, you could always just skim them off and even it out. It's really not a big deal, guys. Okay? In the same way as we did previously, you just want to grab a little bit of foil. Not too much, just enough to cover the whole of the pineapple, and just put it in. Using a toothpick, make some holes. And voila. And what you would do is basically fill your tobacco over here, use foil to cover it up, and put coals on top. From here you could go ahead and do something else, and I'm going to take this opportunity to do it for you guys ahead of time. I had original plan in doing it separately, but we could just use this as a result, as an example for you. So now you have 2 halves of a pineapple. What I've seen some people in Europe do is kind of put the 2 halves together and create like a sort of heat management thing where the coals and the pineapple are kind of separated on top of each other. I like the shape better for that result. It's actually really cool that way. To do that, I'm going to show you. First, we're going to go ahead and foil real quick. And because it's oblong, you want your foil to be a little longer. Okay. Straighten out your foil so there's no air leaks or anything. And fold it up like you normally would. The only difference is, guys, it's just a little more difficult because it's so much larger of a bowl than what we're used to. But you know, it's really not that difficult once you try it a couple times and get the hang of it. And there you go, you guys got the idea. From here, you want to kind of find where your hole was, which is right over here, so you could poke your holes. And I'm going to use a different toothpick. This one's a little blunt now. And go ahead. And make your holes. At this point, you could go ahead and pop it on your hookah. grab some more fresh toothpicks and go ahead and poke some standing hole toothpicks all over. One thing you need to do is accommodate some space so that you could actually reach over and grab coals from your tongs. So I'm just going to use 6 total, right? And put this guy right on top. There you go, guys. So we have 2 more methods of carving pineapples for you guys, okay? The first way we're gonna do is go ahead and show you guys how to do it in a pineapple made for HMDs, okay? And that's plural. So to do that, I'm gonna use a typical chef's knife like I have right over here. And what we wanna do is we wanna cut the pineapple at a lopsided angle as close to 45 degrees as possible, so long as HMD can fit inside that space, okay? So to make it easier, we're gonna cut this part out of it, the leaf. Okay, put that away. And we're gonna try to find the center of it and make a cut right there. And that's gonna help us determine exactly where we're gonna go with the cut. From there, you wanna eyeball about 3 inches worth and cut it off. Okay, and repeat on the other side. Okay, so you have a 2-sided pineapple now. What we're going to be doing is we're going to use 2 lotuses on each side. So to carve that properly, the first thing we have to do is make the correct holes for the smoke to travel through. So we're going to make one halfway into the pineapple, like this. And we're going to make another one on the other side, just the same. You know you're doing it right when you move this and the other one moves along with it. You know you did the right thing. So now they're connected to each other. Finally, put it upside down and you make the part that the 2 are going to connect and go straight down. Okay. Sometimes it fights you a little bit, but honestly just ignore it. What you can do is just grab the toothpick, and if you carved it right, it should pop right out. So almost trying to. And if it needs a little more help, there you go. And this side as well. Voila. And what you will have is 2 holes going into 1 hole. All right. From here, use your fillet knife again and treat them like 2 separate bowl shapes. So we're gonna go ahead and use a lotus this time to let us know exactly the diameter of the lotus in relationship to the pineapple by leaving little marks as guides. Once we have that, we could just kind of go ahead and carve that out. And remember to just stay within the realm of that. Okay, I'm going to cut the other one out just the same way. Place the lotus on center and make some marks. And just the same way as before, you want to kind of just stay within those lines. You don't want to go too out. The reason is because for this lotus to stay in place, you need to create a step for it. And the lotus kind of does that on its own. Okay, and so will any other HMD, guys. I'm sorry if I keep saying lotus, I mean HMD in general. I know there's the Ottoman Ignis, and then there's the MIG Razor, and a few others out there on the market. However, they all follow the lotus style of HMD, and they're all shaped in the same diameter as a lotus. So, you know, I just prefer using the term lotus because they were the first, and I gotta pay my respects to that. Okay. To continue on like just the same way as before. You grab a piece of foil or your toothpicks, whatever you prefer. This is the kind of stuff that's literally just preference. I really don't care what you use. I prefer using this because it's faster and easier and more efficient. Poke some holes. Okay. Load your tobacco, grab your lotus, and place it onto where it was. But this time, what you want to do is kind of create a step by pressing it deep into it. And the cool thing is that the pineapple will change shape to accommodate your lotus. And isn't that cool? That's the bowl shape. And there you have it right over there. And you repeat the same method, same way, and the other side, using a piece of foil. Anchor it. Poke your holes. And make sure that it's crimped, kind of pressed against the shape of the bowl of the pineapple. And voila. Alright, and see how that looks. It's gonna look like that. And that's it's kind of cool. And this is how this bowl is actually gonna look like on a hookah. It's like a gas mask type of thing. It's pretty cool. So far we've shown you how to carve a regular pineapple bowl, typical of how most people do it. We've shown you how to do a slanted pineapple, so you could use 2 pineapples, turn 1 pineapple into 2 pineapples in an efficient way. We've also used that same pineapple to show you guys how you could create a cap with more pineapple, so that you could have a wind cover effect if you choose to. It also looks really cool. And we've also shown you guys how to carve a pineapple with HMDs, okay? Now, of course, you could also carve the pineapple this way and put the lotus right at the center. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to show you guys a cool little trick that how you could kind of push the surface area or the shape of the pineapple to your advantage a little bit better by getting more out of it. Again, these are not efficient things, guys. Pineapple bowls, fruit bowls are just not very efficient. It's not something I recommend. However, I do encourage you to play with them because it's such a cool skill to have, and I think it's important to have this as part of your repertoire as a hookah enthusiast, as a hookah master or guru or hookah fan or whatever you like to label yourself. That doesn't really matter, but I think it's just a really cool trick, you know, and a cool skill. I want to show you guys how to carve a pineapple my personal favorite way. You want to grab your machete and you want to cut your pineapple real nice. All right, and from here we put this away, and I'm gonna explain to you what we're doing. I know we started with just the same way as the first one, okay, so there's nothing special, or at least seemingly, but there is. I'm showing you guys how to carve a pineapple bowl so that it's a funnel bowl. And you start the same way, and you have the basic shape again, where you have your neck of the bowl, and all you got to do is carve the shape of the bowl so that it meets what you want it to be. To do a pineapple bowl so that it's a funnel, what you need to do is decide your spire shape and spire height. Okay, I like to give it a lot of meat because I really don't need too much tobacco, and I like to go this way. So start off by making a nice square. And the reason why we do a square is just to make our lives easier, honestly. Because we still have to carve a whole bunch of other things. And I don't know if you noticed, guys, but I went ahead and cut the line all the way through to the outside part of the bowl, or the pineapple. And that's because now I can just go ahead and grab and just plop out the sides however I want it. and you have a general spire shape in your pineapple. You want your spire to be circular or squared. It doesn't matter, honestly. If you just want to make it a circular shape, just cut the edges out. It's really not that big of a deal. All right, and voila, we have a funnel. Now this funnel is to the rim, right? Technically, because that's where we sliced it and that's where it is. To fix that, you just kind of grab your knife and gently cut it off where you want it. And voila, guys, a pineapple funnel bowl. Now what I'm gonna do next is light up some coal, load this guy up with some of my favorite al-fakhr mix, and spark it up for you guys just so you see how it works. All right, I'll be right back. Hey guys, we're back at the final stage of this episode. We're about to finish this up by showing you guys how these guys perform, okay? Now, I'm gonna choose the funnel bowl variety that I showed you guys how to carve, and that's just because it's my personal favorite way to carve a pineapple. I feel like it gives me the best session I can get out of a pineapple shape, and honestly, in any large fruit bowl shape, okay? For tonight, we have some of my favorite flavors from al-fakhr: mint, orange, and lemon. And what we're going to be doing is showing you guys how to pack this. The al-fakhr method, which we just went over in the previous episode, is a normal pack to the rim, and that's what we're going to imitate in the funnel bowl. This particular mix is a old school favorite of mine, actually. I used to smoke this non-stop. It was my go-to. It still is my go-to, okay? So I'm really going to enjoy this one. And at the end of this video, we're actually going to go ahead and list all the mixes that we were smoking and we mentioned throughout the videos, just so you guys could go ahead and grab it and check out what I'm smoking, you know? Now, some of you who follow me as is, you guys know that I don't really like large holes. However, considering there's a pineapple and the surface area is very large, I'm letting the toothpick go all the way through so you get as large holes as possible. And one in the center. Just preference, guys. If you don't like doing it like that, honestly, if you give me shit about it, I'm gonna kick your ass. Because you know what? This means nothing, absolutely nothing. It's literally just preference. Finally, you pop your pineapple onto your hookah, and if you wanna add a little pizzazz or a little bit something special, just like I described earlier, you could always pop some toothpicks at the base of the top part of your pineapple with the leaves on it. I like to go with at least 5. You go as many as you want and feel comfortable with, right? And then you just grab it right over here and just jam it in there. Now guys, I'm putting the coals this way because the pineapple bowl is very large. The surface area is very large as well. So this is a way for me to be able to get enough heat in there and get it started properly. So to get it started, I'm gonna be using my Hookah Starter Pro. And you're gonna see the smoke coming out right now already. And we're gonna look at some clouds over here. All right guys, let's see how it looks. Oh yeah. And for the hookah, I don't know if you guys can tell or not, this is the Apple on Top Carbon 1 carbon fiber hookah. It's on a Sahara smoke base, and it's one of my favorite, I don't know, medium-sized hookahs. Honestly, it's very modern, very chic, very sleek, and honestly, it performs real well. Alright guys, that's it for this episode of HUtv. I hope you like what we're doing. If you liked what we're doing, go ahead and subscribe by clicking the subscribe button, right? Subscribe. Catch you guys next episode, and I can't wait to see your comments, honestly, so comment, and catch you next week. Deuces, guys.